Holistic connection. Let's heal. Holistic connection. Let's learn. Holistic connection. Let's grow. Holistic connection. Let's be real.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners. I am your host, PamelaTopjian, and I've got a very special guest today. And I want to welcome you, Elizabeth, and I'll let you explain who you are and what you do in the holistic healing space.
Well, Pamela, thank you so much for having me on today. I'm very flattered and honored to be here and speaking to this audience because you guys are my people, really. This is my world of holistic health. And for me, I am a traditional naturopath, and I came into this world in, 1999, a while ago now, when I went to sleep as usual and I awoke the next morning blind in my right eye. And in short order, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis,
Mhm.
which is a degenerative, progressive autoimmune disease where the inflammation in the myelin sheaths around the nerves hinder communication between the brain and the body.
So scary
So
to wake up like that. You have all the information now, but at that time, like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head with that because it was incredibly frightening. And again, this was 1999. This was kind of the infancy of the internet even.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very challenging to get information. I remember even the weekend after I was diagnosed, like printing out hundreds of pages on my inkjet printer off the internet of what there was to learn. And there really wasn't that much to
Oh,
learn. Even my MS doctors told me that within 10 years, I would likely be in a wheelchair because that was the trajectory of MS and that they didn't know why I got it or how to fix it, which was
yeah.
super not helpful.
Goodness. Yeah, so that's what led you to the path that you're on now. So, can we talk a little bit about what you do with clients and with education? And you mentioned that you are traditional
A
naturopath.
traditional naturopath. And that
So,
means that
yeah,
I don't work with diagnoses, I don't
okay,
do surgeries, and I don't work with pharmaceuticals.
okay,
So
okay.
those are kind of my three guiding points in naturopathy.
I
Naturopathy
see.
means basically healing modalities that are not those three things, not
Okay,
pharmaceuticals, not surgeries, and not diagnoses. I work more with
okay,
symptoms than diagnoses. I want to
okay.
see what's going on in your body. And I started this because after I was diagnosed, and the doctors basically told me there's nothing you can do besides take one of these toxic injectable drugs, which have potential serious side effects up to
Yeah.
and including death and very, very low efficacy,
Mm,
like 20 percentile. Like I'm going to be taking this. It's probably not even going to help me. And I could have really serious side effects from it.
yeah. So you weigh what's the benefit compared to not
Exactly.
taking it and just living with this? Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, in our medical world, the medical community thinks, oh, well, there's a benefit to taking the pharmaceuticals over taking nothing. At least you'll give yourself that 20% chance.
Yeah.
So I did try the drugs for the first couple years and I
Mm,
had really extreme side effects. I
mm.
had hives every day, all over my entire body. A good day was 30 hives, a bad day was 300
Oh
hives.
my goodness. Yeah.
Within a year, that kind of progressed to having every time I would inject, again, these were injectables, and they still are.
Yeah.
Every time I would inject the drug, I would have a seizure, a little mini seizure, all of which worked to help me understand my body really didn't like this drug and did not
Yeah.
want to be on it. And that wasn't what the problem was. The other issue for me was that the drugs weren't healing drugs. No drugs are healing drugs, right? They
Yeah.
were intended to mask the symptoms and depress, dampen the immune system
Hmm.
because MS and all autoimmune conditions are considered to be immune system gone rogue. You have
Yeah,
an overactive immune system. It's attacking your own body. We don't know why, and we
right.
don't know how to stop it. You are allergic to self. You are allergic to yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So rather than trying to find out why that's happening and what you can do about it, the medical world is like, how can we just suppress these symptoms?
They're trying to
Yeah.
help you in the way that they can with the tools that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not looking to see, well, why is this happening in the first place?
Right.
Can we go back to like, why is your body doing this? And how can we support your body so that it stops, quote, attacking itself?
Mm-hmm.
So I started first in focusing on anti-inflammatory diet because
Mm-hmm.
my then fiance, now husband of 20 some years,
So it's been a little while. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been a little while. He was a competitive athlete and
Uh,
he said, your diet is crap. And he said, that's probably why you're sick. And I had to give him credit because he was right. At that time,
Yeah.
my diet was what I call my Crystal Light Diet Coke gummy bear diet.
Yes.
Which, if you could think about those three things, which were my primary foods and the only staple foods I had in my
Oh.
apartment for pretty much a decade, um, why I might get sick from that.
Yeah, and that must really like eat at you today. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I was putting into my body all the time.
We didn't know better. Nobody
Right,
taught us better. I was a child of the 80s. I mean, I was
right,
born in the 60s, but I was a
right.
teenager in the 80s.
Yeah, same
And
here.
during that time, we really thought things like aspartame, NutraSweet was like better than sliced bread, right? Oh
Right,
my gosh, you can have this Diet Coke. There's no calories.
right.
You can drink it till the cows come home, and you can really like substitute everything else for Diet Coke. And I
Yeah.
did, I'm going to say. And that is just not true. And as it turns out, my body is super sensitive to aspartame, but I had
Hmm.
flooded my system with it for so long that I couldn't even taste it at that time.
Yeah.
Um, my gummy bear addiction, high fructose corn syrup, artificial colors, artificial flavors. There's nothing redeemable in a gummy bear. And wow, I ate them by the handful. I
Mm.
always had a huge bucket from Costco in my apartment. My friends would know, they would come over, they would just go to the bucket and grab a handful of gummy bears.
Yeah, yeah.
So changing my diet was really the first step. And what I realized was that my MS doctors knew nothing about diet.
Hmm.
And they didn't think it would change anything for me in terms of what my life was like with this diagnosis of multiple
Yeah,
sclerosis. So I really had to figure it out for myself. And I dove deep in to try to understand, well, what is a healthy diet? And of course, not what is a fad diet,
right,
not what is paleo or at that
right.
time it was like the Palm Springs diet or
Hmm.
Atkins, those kinds of things, which
Yeah,
are all the same thing. Um, but what does my body need to really process? What nutrients do I need? Well, how does the body work? I mean, this is an amazing system
yeah,
of interworking biochemical, biological, nutrients. They all work together in hopefully in harmony, but in conjunction with each other to be able to keep us functioning and functioning well and out of pain. And
yeah.
when those systems are depleted, when they're deficient, when not they're not supported because you're living off of gummy bears,
And Diet Coke? Yeah.
that's when things can really go wrong.
Yeah. So
So
where
yes,
did you first get your information? Because as you mentioned, this is, 20 years ago or more. And like you said, we didn't have internet. We had internet, but I mean, I don't know if we even had it in our homes. We certainly didn't have cell phones. It was much harder to get information. So what made you, first of all, go to search? Was it your fiance at the time? Was he the one that sort of prompted you to go, oh, I need to look into this more? And then you probably went to the library. Obviously, you said your doctors didn't have much information on nutrition and how everything affects the body. So how did that first come about for you?
it feels so antiquated. But I bought a lot of books that I
Yeah,
read.
that's what we
I
did if we wanted to know
we did.
something.
I
Yeah,
had file folders full of clippings from
yeah,
magazines and newspapers, things that people would send me. And some of those clippings actually changed the whole trajectory of my research. For
yeah.
instance, my mother handed me a clipping from a Scientific American article by Dr. Alessio Fasano back in, I don't even remember, it must have been 1999,
Hmm.
2000. And in this article, he talks about Dr. Fasano, by the way, is the father of celiac disease. He's the
Oh,
one who
okay.
first put together that celiac sufferers, we had the name for the disease, but we didn't know why they were suffering. And
Mm,
oh, he figured out it was from gluten, from eating wheat.
yeah,
And that was unheard of. In fact, when he presented his findings at medical conferences, and he talks about this in the article, he was basically met with silence and laughed off the stage
sure.
because all of the doctors at the conference were like, well, food doesn't cause disease.
Yeah.
There's no connection between what you eat and how you feel, right? And
So
even,
crazy that they didn't. I mean, this is what we're putting in our body for fuel. It just almost is like common sense. But yeah, it's so interesting that the yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I even today I see doctors who are looking at things like irritable bowel syndrome, which
Hmm.
is what I call a, excuse my language, a bullshit diagnosis because it doesn't tell what is going on.
Right.
Well, it tells what's going on. You're having bowel
An
discomfort,
irritable
but
bowel, but yeah, what's
doesn't
really,
tell you
yeah,
why or
yeah.
how to fix it.
It's like my
So,
tummy's upset.
oh, so you have irritable bowel. Okay,
Right,
well,
right.
go off and on your way. You have irritable bowel. Um, but it doesn't, even those doctors are not necessarily, maybe they're starting to just now connect. Well,
Yeah,
maybe it has something to do with what you're eating. Why
yeah.
does your stomach hurt? Maybe it's
Right,
something to do with what you ate.
right. Yeah.
Amazing how that works.
Mm-hmm.
So my journey began with food,
Mm-hmm.
and um that's when I developed my mantra of whole foods are better than processed foods. And that following that mantra, working with whole foods and really focusing my diet on real food instead of all this processed food,
Yeah.
especially in our country in the US, it's just really unregulated in many ways. And the companies are allowed to put in all kinds of additives
Yeah.
and preservatives without even necessarily informing you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the even the labeling laws are, since I was diagnosed, that has started. So they're not very old. And
Right.
there's still lots of loopholes. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, one of my biggest soapboxes right now is, quote, natural flavors.
Exactly. I was thinking that when you said that. Exactly. Yeah. What is the natural flavor?
Right. I like to say
Yeah.
natural flavors are anything but natural. I
Yeah.
mean, if I have something that says natural flavors, and let's say it's a soda, let's say it's a carbonated water that's lemon flavored. Okay, well, you're like, oh, this is a great solution, a great alternative to a soda, right? It just has, the ingredients are carbonated water and, quote, natural flavors.
And
Well,
you're
that
going to assume lemon, but yeah.
you're going to assume because it's a lemon flavored,
Mm-hmm.
you're choosing lemon flavor, but within that phrase natural flavors, there could be even up to 100 chemicals in this stew that the companies are not required to divulge because they're considered
Yeah.
proprietary information.
Mm.
And those natural flavors are really coming from one of six or seven multinational corporations that create all of the flavorings in our world and all of the aromas as well. So they, in their laboratories with their chemists, they tinker with molecules to
Mm.
mimic the sense of Pine Sol, of
Yeah.
Tide detergent, of that strawberry milkshake you're getting at McDonald's, of that lemon flavor in that carbonated water. So it's all coming from these laboratories and these
Mm.
chemists. There's nothing natural necessarily about them.
Yeah.
So that's hard to avoid because once you start reading labels, you'll see how common these natural flavors are.
Yeah.
In fact, I recently hosted an event at my house, and someone brought over a box of tea for the participants to have. and it's Constant Comment. And oh, that's always been one of my favorite tea flavors, Constant
Mm,
Comment. But I turn it over and I look at the label and it's all natural flavors. It's like even teas are full of this, and you have to
yeah.
read the labels.
Yeah. And we grew up in a time too that you trusted that, oh, the government's not going to let them sell this to us if it's not safe. And we trusted our government, and not to get political at all, but we trusted our government, we trusted our doctors and the people of authority. We were really taught to trust these people and to not question and to say, they have our best interest at heart is what we thought. And maybe like a lot of doctors probably do, but they just were uninformed themselves for sure. And like you said, I think it is getting better. So let's talk a little bit about what you do in the world now, what you're doing in the whole, because there's quite a few things that you do, and I want to make sure we get to it all. So yeah.
There is a lot of things that I do. So I run this online community and clinic called the Inflammation Academy, and that's where we have people around the globe who enroll in courses to help understand where the inflammation, where their symptoms that are from inflammation are coming from, and how to take steps to create their own anti-inflammatory lives for themselves.
Mm,
And then, depending on where you are in the world, if you are in North America, you can take it a step further. You can actually work with me one on one. You can get some functional medicine testing. We can create a customized anti inflammatory diet, which I've been doing
nice.
for 15 years for different people. And that can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
And then my latest obsession is functional genomics. So I'm
Mm,
bringing in genetic testing and learning how to support your genetic structure, which is something that is unchangeable, right? Your genes don't
yeah.
change in your
So
life.
interesting. Wow.
And it's amazing how much your genetic map plays a role in how you feel and function every day. And even, in fact, what kind of symptoms and diagnoses you may encounter down the road. I mean, we're kind of
Mm,
all familiar with like the BRCA gene for breast cancer, things like that. And then people like Angelina Jolie like go and they take prophylactic mastectomies and they cut it off just because they have this gene.
yeah.
But really what your genetic makeup says is what you have a predisposition or a propensity to,
Mm-hmm.
not what is
Not
a
necessarily coming for sure for you. Yeah.
right. It's not
Yeah.
a given. And what we learned from epigenetics is that you can actually take steps
Yeah.
to support a positive expression of those genes rather than that negative expression of those genes. So just
Yeah.
because you might have the BRCA doesn't mean you are doomed to get breast cancer,
Yeah.
especially if you understand what your genes say and you act accordingly.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just about education and then implementing what you've learned into your life, of course. So you help people with that for sure with the Inflammation Academy.
The Inflammation Academy. And then
Okay.
I just debuted my new podcast, The
Yeah.
Inflammation Investigator.
Yeah.
And
So
on
much
that
great
podcast,
information. Yes.
right. So actually on that podcast, what I'm doing is I am sharing all this research that I've been doing for 20 some years that I've synthesized in and is part of a book that will be coming out. I don't even know when. So I decided I couldn't wait for the book to come out. I was going to share this information in the podcast. So I share my own research and then I also interview other experts to talk about what is the link, what is the connection between inflammation and, say, osteoporosis
Hmm.
or or migraines. Like,
Yeah.
why there are all these connections, but have not been taught that at the foundation to pretty much every symptom
Hmm.
that is negative in your body, there is inflammation that is causing that symptom. My goal is to focus on that inflammation instead of the symptom. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you have migraines. Okay, well, that's fine. I'm not going to say I'm a migraine specialist. I'm going to say, let's work to reduce the inflammation in your body overall, and that will reduce your symptoms. Because
Yeah.
if there's no inflammation, you won't have a symptom.
So nice. Most of the time, I hear of people doing this medication, going to this doctor and this specialist, and trying all these different things. They're just like so it must be such a relief to find something that they can do themselves that they get real results from. So I can imagine how wonderful that is for people. So thank you for the work you're doing in the world. We're coming up on almost being done here, and oh my gosh, we could talk forever.
I
But
know.
so please listen to her podcast, and that is the inflammation investigation, right? Or
Investigator.
investigator. Okay. We'll have that link below. So your website is also elizabethyarnell.com. And then you are also on Instagram, Elizabeth Yarnell underscore naturopath. And then Facebook, Elizabeth Yarnell traditional naturopath. You're on YouTube. So, and that's just your name as well. And you're also on LinkedIn with just your name. So we'll have all those links below.
Thank you.
And yeah, definitely listen to her podcast. So much information. If you want more information about just a little bit we've got to talk about here, check out the website. Um, so, anything else that you want to make sure people know before we go? I know this has been so fast, but anything else you want to make sure people know before we end this today?
So much to talk about, but I feel
Yeah,
like the most important message that I can convey is that even if you are all in on the medical model and you are taking the meds that your doctor prescribed, fantastic. You
yeah,
should still be understanding what you can do yourself,
yeah,
because you should still be understanding how you can change your diet to help your body. You should still be understanding what's going on in your life that could be triggering inflammation, that could be keeping you worse, even though you're taking the medication. So it's not an either or,
yeah, yeah,
it's an and.
definitely. Yeah, that's a great message. So I am a former nurse myself. I'm kind of a disgruntled nurse. Um, so I'm not necessarily against the whole medical field, but this is part of why I am doing this podcast is to help people make informed decisions and to, learn about all their options. So yeah, so we don't ever want to say don't see your doctor or stop your medications, anything like
No,
that. Definitely not to do anything like that, but to be proactive in your own health. That's really what it's
yes,
about. Educate yourself, be proactive, do what you
yes,
can. And I suspect that even if people, even if they don't have or don't know they have any kind of autoimmune disorder or anything like that, if they change their diet to an anti-inflammatory diet, they will see changes.
I couldn't agree more. I dropped weight, or I'm
Yeah.
sleeping better, like,
Yeah.
or I'm pooping better, right?
Right, right. Or my
All of
skin is
these,
better. Yeah.
right? All of these things that we weren't taught are all really connected.
So amazing. So amazing. Yeah. So thank you once again. I'm just so appreciative of you being here. Also, I want to let everybody know you have a TEDx talk. It was so long ago, I know, but it's kind of your beginning story of how you got some of the same information here, but it goes into it much more. And that is called We Are What We Eat, Poisons in Our Everyday Foods. So check that out. And I'll put that link below because I want you guys to watch that too. So thank you once again.
Yes, thank you so much, Pamela. This was such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. You're so welcome.